Hello YouTube and welcome to a new video. Right now I'm in the lessons section on chess.com and I'm trying to go through some strategical stuff about thinking about your opponent's moves, right? And I did the first part of this video without any sound whatsoever. I had a defect with my microphone, so it didn't record anything. So I basically had to make a concession of whether or not to go through them again, and I found out that, well, you guys probably don't mind getting in the middle of a lesson instead of from the beginning, because these are lessons with one task for each level, so to speak. So let's dig right into it. I finished off last time at number 15 and now we're at number 16. So let's go. This is from the game Hernandez-Sakis from the 1988 Calcutta tournament. White just played rook e1 to c1 check. What should black do with a material edge in this endgame? Okay, so we're gonna lose this knight whatever we do, right? But what is the right king move? The king can go to both d6, b6, d5 and b4. Going to d5 allows bishop captures c6 check. Going to d6 allows rook captures c6 check. King b6 allows rook captures c6 check. He can't capture with the rook anyways though, but if he takes with a bishop and I move my king to b4, let's say, then I can actually pin that rook, at least make it a bit more uncomfortable for white with rook h to c8. If king b4, bishop captures c6, rook h c8, and if the rook captures on c6, then I can probably play something like rook h c8 anyways. Yeah, I like king b4. Let's do that. Correctly bringing the king further into the opponent's territory. There was nothing that could be done to save the knight on c6 anyways. Alright, and yes, these lessons are on chess.com. All rights reserved to them, of course. And if you guys want to solve these yourself or learn some more chess, then you should definitely check it out. Although I don't think you are able to get as many of these if you're not a premium member or a paying member at all. But yeah, that's kind of why I do these as well, because it kind of gives people who doesn't have the opportunity to pay for an account like that, they can stop by here. I'm not associated with chess.com whatsoever as of this moment, so please don't take that statement from me as a marketing strategy from chess.com or something like that. But let's continue. Alright, bishop captures e6, winning back a piece, but black still has a material advantage of rook for bishop and pawn. Now how should black play with a material edge in this endgame? So as I said, rook h to c8 looks like the only reasonable try for black. After this move, probably rook to b1 check. Then I could bring my king further up the board and try to attack these pawns, because of the fact that white's bishop at least always has to stay guard of this a4 pawn. If white loses that pawn, he's probably going to lose the game. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, pinning the bishop so it cannot be moved immediately. Rook to b1 check, getting out of the pin and checking black's king. Alright. So should we go to c3? I kind of like that, but you could also look for something like king to a5 or king to a3, just because if the if the bishop moves, then we could have the opportunity of bringing our rook to c1, giving a mate, but that's basically not going to happen. After bishop b5, we can't even take on b5 because the rook isn't the only piece guarding b5. The a4 pawn is also guarding it, so basically a captures b5 then, and we still don't have a back rank mate, and then we are on the defensive there. So yeah, king c3. If rook captures back, bishop b5, then probably just king to d2. If king to e1, then rook to c8, and trying to get some action there. Just trying to probe these pawns. Yeah, let's do it. Heading further into the white position, black has a concrete idea with this specific king move, as we will see. Maybe it is my idea. By the way, I'm drinking some tea here, like a true British soldier at Christmas. Let's continue. So bishop to b5, saving the bishop and blocking up the b file. But now black will look to simplify the position. King to d2 is my idea, and I really believe in that move. Yes, the key move. Now black will force simplifications and have an easier endgame as a result of that. And by the way, the things that I'm reading up is from the lessons itself. On the right hand side of the lessons you get this text that actually kind of acts as a, you can't really say a personal coach, but there's definitely some value in many of these texts. g3, giving the king some air as it was trapped on the back rank, but now black will be able to force simplifications in his favor. So just simply trading off the rooks. Now black accomplishes his goal of trading off a pair of rooks to make the endgame win easier. In summary, black recognized there was no way to save his knight on c6, so he found an opportunity to trade a pair of rooks to simplify into a winning endgame. Cool. Let's go to lesson number 17. Okay, this is a famous endgame study from Otten, I don't know how to pronounce that, in 1892. Probably just Otten. Black just played bishop g7 to f8. Why did black play this move? What is it trying to achieve? Alright, so what is black trying to achieve with bishop to f8? That's a good question, isn't it? Alright. Whoa. There's something happening here. There we go. So, by playing that move, he kind of says that he just waits for one of the pawns to move. And if king to f4, then he has bishop to h6 check. Not allowing the pawn on g4 to move forward. But I could play a6 here though. a6, but then he has king to e6 maybe. Huh. Maybe I can play king to f4 actually. King f4, bishop h6 check, then king back to e4. But then he can play bishop back to f8 though. But if king to g5 then I could play a6 because the bishop is actually not in time to stop that a pawn. That is a cool idea, but I don't believe in it quite yet, because I don't want to repeat moves either. King f4, bishop h6 check. What about looking at g5 check? Bishop captures g5 check. King to e4. Then probably just king to e6. No, not king to e6. Then he has to play bishop to h4. So I have to play my king to f3. So king f4, bishop h6 check, g5 check, bishop captures g5, king f3, preventing the bishop from both going back to h4, g3. From f3 I got the g3 square, and also from g5 going to e3. So after king f3, what is black going to do? If the king moves, then I simply push a6. But king f4, he doesn't have to give that check though. I could also go for king to d5. Stopping an immediate bishop to c5. So the only other move is bishop to h6. Then a6, bishop e3. And pushing the pawn then does not work. But what about g5 check? King captures and then king to d5. That stops the bishop from both coming into c5 and bishop g7, bishop to d4. Kinda like that. Let's do it. No. Apparently not, because then the king can just move back probably. Okay, a6. Nope. This would be rushing things. Now black would play bishop f8. Alright. So king d5 immediately. I thought that didn't work because of bishop h6. Huh. And now king to d4. Is that an idea? Nope. What? A fantastic move, and the only winning move on the board. Either way, black captures the king, will be captures the pawn, not king, will be interfering with the bishop. Oh yeah, either way, black captures, the king will be interfering with the bishop. That's bad, bad language right there. Will be interfering with the bishop, and the a pawn will promote. Now what is the move to secure the path for your own pawn to advance? King here. Nice. Correctly preventing the bishop from gaining access to the a7 g1 diagonal. Now here. Correctly controlling the entry squares on the a7 g1 diagonal to prevent the black bishop from getting control of a7. Black now realizes the bishop cannot get control over a7, so he decides to chase the pawn with the king. But is this fast enough? So let's count. a6, king d6, a7, king c6, a8 equals queen. So we can push. Securing the pawn to advance to the queening square. After king d6, a7, king c7, a8 equals queen, it is all over. In summary, white had a material disadvantage but could not lose with black only having a bishop, so his objective was to find a win. The g-pawn was not a factor, so white's hope was the a-pawn. Black's threat was to gain control of the a7 square with his bishop, but white recognized and prevented this threat to win the game. Alright, let's go to lesson number 18. Black just played knight d7 to f6, which turned out to be a very bad move. Do you see how to take advantage of this? I would say by playing e5 immediately, attacking the knight and attacking the bishop at the same time. The only move that I can see that stops both the captures immediately is knight to e4. Note that bishop captures f3 does not work for black due to e captures f6 check first and then recapturing on f3. So e5, knight to e4. Then probably just knight to c3, or even just rook f to e1. But he has f5 though. But then I can en passant that with check. That's nice. But yeah, probably with the knight because of d5. C captures d5, E captures d5. I have control of that square on d5 with my knight here. So e5, knight e4, knight c3. If f5, then e captures f5 check, king captures back, or pawn captures. Don't think that. Yeah, pawn captures can also be played, but then I just take. So f5 immediately does not work due to this check. So then he has to play d5. My knight is on c3. So then I take, c captures d5, e captures d5. And then I can play rook f to e1, pinning the knight towards the king as well. Yeah, it looks decent enough. A very strong discovered attack. Now the black knight and bishop are attacked at once. Okay, we're going for the boring variation. Okay. If the black knight had moved, then white would simply win the bishop on b7. Not knight to e4, it wouldn't. But alright. Now do you see the key move to win a piece? Yes. Here we go. A very strong in-between check move to win material and the game. Now the black is forced to recapture on f6 as it was in check to his king. Now what piece is left for the taking? Duh. And now white comes out with an extra piece and an easily winning game. Summary. White was planning a discovered attack which may not have been strong enough. But then opponent's knight arrived just in time to make what was nearly possible tactics to winning one. Lesson number 19 then. This is from the game I don't know how to pronounce that. You've alright. Versus Reshevsky from the 1948 World Championship. White just played b2 to b4, threatening to kick the defender of the e5 pawn. How should black react? It's pretty stupid not to actually speak a name of a world champion, but hey, that's the way it is. You've so weird. But white just played b2 to b4, threatening to kick the defender of the e5 pawn away. So what do we play? Okay, so first of all, we can kick that knight away ourselves by playing e4. The problem is though that he has knight to g5, and after rook to d6, he can play c5, making us move the rook out of the 6th rank, and then he can take on f6, creating doubled pawns on the f file there. Is that a weakness though? Maybe not. I could also play knight to d7, just reinforcing that pawn, but then a rook on the d file would do the job for white. But I kind of like just pushing e4. I mean, I could capture first on b4 and then pushing e4 after trading rooks. But allowing the white rook on f1 to actually get some space, as of now, it doesn't do anything. Yeah, I kind of like e4 here. Okay, after the simple knight d2 retreat move, the game will be quite equal. Instead, you should look to play for a small advantage. Alright, I hear you. That's just something that we should all do, right? Why play for the draw when we can play for the win? Alright. I love draws though. But I don't like knight to d7, but maybe I have to do that to play f6 later. So knight d7, b5, knight to e7, knight to g5, rook g6, knight goes to e4. Yeah. I could also play knight to e4 immediately though, pushing that bishop away. And if the bishop stays on this diagonal, then the only real move to actually do is bishop to e1. I mean, bishop to d2 allows me to capture that bishop and knight captures back, and then there's no pressure towards this pawn. Knight e4 looks like the move to go. I didn't even consider that the first time round. And if the bishop goes to e1, then I can simply capture on b4. If bishop captures back, then knight captures and pawn captures, and I think I'm good. And the pawn really can't capture there because of rook captures a1, because of the bishop blocking in the rook on f1 there. I like it. Let's do it. White was pressuring the pawn on e5. With his last move, he created a threat of b4, b5, driving the defender away. Black used the opportunity to gain time by attacking the bishop while improving his knight. So bishop to b2, removing the bishop from the attack. Now black follows up with another strong move. Simply taking? Looks strong enough. After white recaptures with a captures b4, this would only open the a file in white's favor. Okay, that's not good. So What to play then? F6? Probably. Yeah. Black builds a solid wall, limiting the bishop's range. So b5, getting some space and forcing the knight to a more passive position. Where should the knight move to? So we have an option of playing knight to e7, knight d8, knight b8, or knight to a7. Where do we want our knight? I kind of like my knight on this side of the board, so I don't like knight e8 or knight d8 that much, because both of these pawns kind of neglects that possibility, right? And it's really hard. It takes 1, 2, 3 moves to get to d6 from this point, and to get to c5 I only need 1, 2, 3. It's the same actually. But I like it better on c5. Yeah, on c5 it can't be touched actually. And if knight d8, knight f7, where does that knight go? Like d6 again? He can't really push though. He can't really push. Alright. Maybe I can do that. But I can only attack it with one knight. Okay. Really hard. But I'm going to say knight to b8. But no. The best square for the knight, apparently e7. Alright. I accept it. The best square for the knight. From here it eyes many important squares such as f5, d5, c8 and c6. Okay. I found that c5 is quite important though, but maybe I'm just really wrong, and I am, of course, because this is correct. I should listen to the lessons here, not try to say against it. White naturally plays a rook to the open file. How can you challenge white's play? By placing a rook on d6. That rook doesn't do much anyways. Challenging for control of the open d file. Summary. White was pressuring the pawn on e5 and threatening to drive the defender away. Black used the opportunity to overprotect the pawn and also make the bishop b2 a passive observer. Alright, let's go to lesson number 20. In this position, Black just played king g8 to h7 to what appeared like a safe position for the king, or safer position for the king. However, this was an inaccuracy. Do you see how to take advantage of this mistake? So our bishop is on the same diagonal. Our knight can jump to h4, also getting to that diagonal. And our queen can easily go to c2. So by playing, let's say, g4, we really have some pressure onto the king there, at least. g4, the bishop would kind of have to capture, or rook captures e3, queen captures e3, and then bishop captures d3. But then my attack is kind of gone, isn't it? Pawn to g4. Rook captures e3. I don't like it. Then I don't prefer bishop captures e4 though. Then I like g4 better. Knight h4 immediately does not work because of the rook. But if there was a way to get rid of the bishop on e3, so that it wasn't under attack from the rook, I don't see a way other than bishop to g5 maybe. Like, that queen looks almost trapped as well. But knight g5 check does not work. H captures g5, bishop captures g5, and then queen to d4. Yeah. That holds for black. He doesn't lose his queen at least. So what about bishop to g5 first? Forcing him to take on g5 with his pawn on h6, and then knight captures g5, check. The king would have to go somewhere, and then knight captures e4. Or maybe even better, bishop captures e4. Kind of like that idea. Okay, this is probably wrong because reasons, but still. A very strong move which takes advantage of the position of the black king and queen and winning a pawn. This is forced to avoid the loss of the queen. Now, do you see the correct continuation? I do believe so. Knight captures g5. Forking and double attacking the black rook and king. King to g8, and now bringing the king back to where it originally was, showing that the original move of bringing the king to h7 was an error. And now is the time for the white, not for the white, to cash in. Yeah, for the white. But yeah, I kind of like capturing with the bishop. The position is kind of closed, so I like my knight more. Yeah, finally taking the rook on e4. And now black will be hard pressed to find any counterplay and activity. The summary of this is black was hoping to sacrifice his rook to gain a solid positional compensation. White found a tactical hole in black's plans and executed flawlessly. Yes, we did. Let's go to the next one. Lesson number 21. In this position, black just played rook f4 to h4, attacking the white queen and the h2 pawn. Do you see a way to avoid trouble and turn this into white's favor? Turn this in white's favor. And yes, I have some guests in the house right now, so that's probably what you're hearing, if you can hear any other voice than me. But can I play knight g6? Rook captures h5. Knight captures e7 check. Bishop captures e7. And then g4. Nah, I can't trap that rook. It's not possible. I was hoping to, though. I could just play queen to f7, but it doesn't do much, and I'm losing the pawn on h2. And by capturing the rook on h4 with my queen, I feel like I'm just losing big time. Are there any other ways to kind of stop both of those threats? Capturing on h5 and also capturing on h2, or on e5 for that matter. Jeg er litt opptatt.
Hei, ja.
Vent litt.
Det er mat nå.
Ja. So I do not know what to play here actually. Knight g6, rook captures h5, knight captures e7 check, bishop captures e7. But queen f7 check, queen captures, knight captures, the bishop has to capture on h2, then king to f2, and then king captures the knight. And if king to h1, then the bishop can probably go to f4 with another check, and then king to g1, and then king captures f7 again. Then I have g3 though, but still. Huh. I really don't see it. Knight g6 seems like the only continuation for white. But even then I lose material. It seems. Knight g6, rook captures h5, knight captures e7 check, bishop captures e7. Let's try this then. Yeah, I agree. It was wrong. This is also wrong. Wow, queen to g6. It seems that white is in a serious predicament. The queen is under attack and needs to run, leaving the knight on e5 undefended. White calmly plays queen g6. Why? Because of g3 probably. Didn't see it. Yeah, g3. The black rook is running low on squares, so rook h3 is the only safe square for the black rook. But now queen to g4. Or maybe even king to g2. Queen g4 looks safer. But yeah, both of them works, it seems. The rook is trapped and will be lost. White will have a rook for bishop plus pawn. And the summary is, white was in a terrible situation here. His queen was threatened and moving would have left the knight unprotected. White found an opportunity to trap the black rook and ended up with an advantage. Yeah! Nice one. I liked that one, although I failed at it. It was really instructive, I think. To see how how you can attack something without attacking something. Like just queen g6, here you go. Pick up my knight if you dare. Wow, that's cool. I like it. Alright, that's it for today. Now I'm off for some dinner. Please subscribe if you like this video, and I'm gonna post another video in a week or so for the final 5 lessons. Alright, see you then. Bye.